Welcome back for another episode of Content Classroom. This week, I want to talk to you about the language that we use when we're on video. So for those of you that are brave enough to get on camera, I know that a lot of you will have come across the things I'm about to talk about today, which are things like using filler words, using ledgers between sentences, and also authoritative and assertive language. What do I mean by that? Worked with a client recently who is a supreme expert in their field, very experienced, super intelligent, very, very credible, and already have a huge customer base. Part of a team that have written books that are industry textbooks. Those books are the standard for their industry. And yet, when I got that client on camera, there was a lot of talk around, I think, and I pulled them on that straight away. It's easy for us to say, I think, because it's almost and I'm not a psychologist, it's almost a defensive mechanism. It enables us to say things that remove challenge from what we're saying because it is our opinion and nobody can tell us that our opinion is wrong. We're entitled to our opinion, right? But a real expert doesn't fall back on that because they're able to defy those challenges. They're able to talk to people about why the challenges that they might get on saying something that's opinion in their experience is right or wrong. And that same person would be more than capable of doing all of that. But she still fell into the trap of saying, I think, quite a lot. And it's one of those things that until you get on camera, you probably don't even realize you're doing. And I'd be willing to bet that in real life, she never uses the phrase, I think. So it's a great example of thinking about how you talk when you're on camera and trying to project that air of confidence and expertise. It's not easy. I'm not saying this is easy, but it's something to be aware of and something that over time, if you're aware of it and you can spot yourself doing it, you can start to remove it from your language when you're on camera. The good news is it's very easy to edit out as well. So my advice would be if you do catch yourself saying it, it's okay. It can be edited. But the less you do that, the less editing you have to do, the faster your process gets. The other side of things is the less you do it, the less likely you are to do it in real life also, which I would imagine have significant impacts on, for those of you that are consultants and public speakers, etc., keynote speakers, because then you're going to change your whole confidence when you're on stage and the way that you're received by the audience. Filler words is another one that I see a lot of people struggle with. And even I've took a long time of really concentrated effort to remove most of the filler words from what I'm talking about. Now, filler words come from a few different locations, so it's hard to identify why we're using them. But a filler word is ums and ahs and and those sorts of things. Now, we all do them. They're perfectly normal. Again, very easy to edit out most of the time. But I've come across clients who in a 20-25 minute video have used over 500 filler words. Now, when you start to get to that level, it starts to become quite tricky to edit out because there are, especially if you're on video, there are visual cues that show that that track's been edited. Now, we can blend those over a little bit. The more often we do it, the more the eye starts to pick up on it. Once you've noticed it, it becomes very obvious and quite distracting. So my advice would be to record yourself talking about a set topic. Even if you don't plan to use that, just record 5 minutes of you talking about a set topic and then play it back. And I know, close your eyes if you want to, don't have to look at the camera, right? I hate seeing myself on camera still to this day, but just listen to how many times you use filler words, or even better, plumb it into Descript. Link will be in the notes and get it to identify all the filler words for you. And that's how I do it. I get it to identify the filler words and then go through and remove them one by one. You can delete all, which is great if you're on audio, not so great if you're on video because, like I say, it causes those jumps and skips. So you want to gauge each one. There you go. It usually happens when we're shifting topics, moving to our next point, or we're not quite clear where we're going to go with the conversation. Now, I do a lot of in-the-moment monologues where I don't really prepare and I just go for it. I feel comfortable doing that after maybe 5 years of recording on video. I'm really reasonably comfortable doing that. Most people aren't. So my advice is have your notes dotted around in places where it's near the camera, where you can look for your next topic, your next bullet point, and try, if you're going to be giving a 20-minute monologue, to try and have a run through first, just a simple version of it. Doesn't have to be the full thing. Just try and run through it to build yourself up that recent knowledge, that recent memory of what you're going to be talking about, so that when you do have the conversation, you're far less likely to use ledgers and filler words. The other side of things is it will come with confidence. And most people don't have that right at the beginning of recording video. So don't be scared of it. Certainly don't let it take control of your video. Please don't keep re-recording your video because you've used ums and ers. To a certain extent, it adds authenticity and shows that you're organic, right? Not everybody talks without filler words. So it is okay to have a certain amount in there. But if it is excessive, just consider getting yourself into a state of mind where you're ready for the recording. Give yourself 5 minutes before you hit the button. Listen to some music that inspires you. Look over your notes, have your notes around. Just feel as prepared as you need to be to move forward. But please don't script recordings. Please don't script your videos. We've all been on the phone to a call center where they've refused to move from their set script that they have, and they just repeat the same words. I'm talking to a chatbot from 1995. They just don't move. They can't respond to the situation. And I think that's really important when you're on video, to be able to go, to a certain extent, where your connections in your brain take you whilst you're talking. You might think of something really interesting that you hadn't thought about when you were preparing your notes and want to go there. Please do. I'd encourage you all to do that, because that's where the real gold comes from in your video. I know this is useful for a lot of you. Please, if you've put that into practice after watching the newsletter today or reading the newsletter, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me how you got on with it. Drop me an email or drop me a DM, and we'll speak next week on the Content Classroom.